If you stripped Western civilization down to its source code, the ideas that everything else was built on, you would find 5 books, not self-help, not bestsellers, books that rewired how entire populations think about power, morality, freedom, and what a society should look like. Most people have heard of them. Almost nobody has read them, and that is a problem, because the world you live in was designed by people who did. 24 centuries ago, a man in Athens asked a question that nobody had thought to ask before. What should a society actually look like? Before Plato, societies were inherited. You lived under the system your father lived under, and his father before him. Nobody asked whether it was good or right or designed well. It simply was. Plato changed that. In the Republic, he argued that a just society must be built deliberately, governed by those who understand truth, not those who merely want power. He invented the idea of the philosopher king, a ruler who leads not because he desires authority, but because he understands things others cannot see. Every constitution written since, from Rome to America, is a footnote to that one question Plato asked in a courtyard in Athens. What should a society look like? We are still arguing about the answer. No book in history has shaped more laws, more wars, more institutions, and more individual lives than the Bible. For 2,000 years, it was the moral operating system of Western civilization. It gave Europe its concept of individual dignity, the idea that every person, regardless of status, has inherent worth. It gave the West its framework for justice, its calendar, its holidays, its architecture, its art, and its understanding of time itself. A story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, rather than the endless cycles the ancient world believed in. Whether you believe in it or not, you live inside its consequences. The hospitals you visit were built by people who read it. The universities you attend were founded to study it. The legal systems that protect you were shaped by people who took it seriously. To ignore it is not neutrality. It is ignorance of the foundations beneath your feet. In 1513, a disgraced Florentine diplomat sat in exile and wrote a short book that would scandalize Europe for 5 centuries. Machiavelli did not invent cruelty or deception. He described how power actually works, stripped of the polite fictions that rulers hide behind. The Prince is not a manual for tyrants. It is a mirror held up to politics itself. He argued that a leader must be willing to act against morality when the survival of the state demands it, that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, that the appearance of virtue is more useful than virtue itself, because people judge by what they see, not by what is true. Every leader since has followed the Prince, whether they admit it or not. Every political campaign, every corporate strategy, every negotiation between nations operates on principles Machiavelli was the first to write down honestly. He did not create the game. He just refused to pretend it was not being played. In 1651, England was tearing itself apart. A king had been executed. Civil war had shattered every assumption about order and authority. Into this chaos, Thomas Hobbes published a book that asked the most terrifying question in political philosophy: what happens when there is no government at all? His answer was blunt. Without authority, life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Humans in a state of nature are not noble savages. They are frightened animals who will kill each other for bread. Hobbes argued that the only escape is a social contract, individuals surrendering their freedom to a sovereign power in exchange for protection. The state exists not because it is good, but because the alternative is worse. He was writing during a civil war. He was not guessing. He had watched a civilized country destroy itself, and he was trying to explain why. Every government that exists today, democratic or authoritarian, is built on some version of the bargain Hobbes described. You give up some freedom. In return, you do not get murdered in your sleep. In 1859, John Stuart Mill drew a line that every free society still argues about. Where does your freedom end and someone else's begin? His answer was the harm principle. You should be free to do whatever you want, as long as it does not harm others. The state has no right to interfere with your choices for your own good, only to prevent you from damaging someone else. This sounds obvious now. In 1859, it was radical. Governments routinely controlled what people could say, believe, worship, and publish. Mill argued that even offensive, wrong, or dangerous ideas must be allowed, because silencing them means assuming you are infallible, and no one is. Every free speech debate happening right now, on social media, on university campuses, in parliaments, is still using Mill's framework from 1859. He drew the line. We are still arguing about exactly where it falls. These 5 books are not history. They are the source code of the world you live in. Plato asked what society should be. The Bible gave it a moral structure. Machiavelli showed how power really works within it. Hobbes explained why we need government at all. Mill drew the line between the state and the individual. You do not have to agree with any of them. But if you have not read them, you are living inside a system you do not understand, designed by people who understood it very well.